is amazing. It was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostyn and Cam Waters.
It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day. Race against the clock at a hill climb. Or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today.
Fishies in a row. They're here to make a point and to do Eddie proud. They fan out in the background as they come down to turn 1 for the first time. It all looks pretty good, 2 by 2. We'll stop the camera here. Oh, Eddie would be proud, mate. That was awesome run around turn 1. But, oi! Contact with the fishies.
Oh, he's made it through. It doesn't look like Angus has made it, but Thomas Freeman's made it through, and Angus is going to suffer the crowd coming through there to be able to turn his car around.
I love riding. It's a real social thing. There's a great bond between riders.
Every weekend I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other.
Riding to work is a great way to start the day.
Shannon's insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. They offer features riders really want. It's why they're one of Australia's leading motorcycle insurance providers.
Whatever you ride, whatever you ride,
Whatever you ride.
ride with Shannon's.
Call 134646 for a quote.
And they are off. It was a good start from Dylan to Bono. I think Phil Vella got a great start there in the background as well. You can see already cars going 5, 6 wide as they're trying to find any semblance of space. They come into T1. So far we've got 2, 3 wide as they snake down. It's Michael Conchar that's got around Dylan de Bono. A couple of cars going wide there. Was that a bit of contact in the back? Scott Pocock caught up in that, I think, there, buddy. But it's Michael Cuttajar's got past, so Dylan...
light is coming out and we're about to get going, and we have a green light and a very slow start for the 86s, but they are moving out there on the grid. It would be very interesting to see exactly which driver can capitalise on this first lap. Just go through the grid. Look like Jamie Christensen had a really awesome start to get ahead of Dylan de Bono, and Doug Gowage also jumped his teammate as well, so unfortunately Dylan stalled the car a little bit more than what he preferred. But
Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today.
Still great classes of car, and if you are able to, if you're coming up the ranks on iRacing through the licenses, it's a fantastic sort of laneway into prototype driving, going from that GT3 up through the prototype classes as the safety car pulls in and we get ready to go green as we come up towards the line. Edwards, Hasler, who's going to get the jump down to turn 1, or will any of the fishies, any of the piranhas in behind them, assault them down towards
green and they're off.
First lap? Let's go here.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannon's.
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover,
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be
Shannon's.
Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 134646 for a quote.
This is amazing. It was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostyn and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce Tanek and Jamie Dyson just absolutely drove away from us. Hayden trying to go around the outside. This is where he could have just sent it up the inside, but he implemented it, which is fair enough. It's very scary out there, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's see if he gets a good run. Dodds just absolutely thinker, but it is a really nice move. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Live. Well, I've just put myself over the mic. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Shannon's Formula 3 Nationals here. Normally I bring out Cowie in first. You've got a little glimpse there of what we call out to let Cowie know that he's live on screen. But here tonight for round number 4 of Season 2 of 2024 of the Shannon's Insurance Formula 3 Nationals here out at Autodromo Enzo e Dino Ferrari, also known as Imola in the Bologna region of Italy. I'm your commentator here tonight, Hamish Munro, joined alongside by Andrew Cowan. Cowie, a little bit of a blunder at the start, but it should be a good night of racing nonetheless.
Yeah, you took over my spiel. Nah, it's all good, buddy. It's all good. Well, what I was going to say at the end of my spiel to bring you into it, Hamish, is it's round 4, so all the driver classifications are locked in. You're a pro, you're a pro, you're a pro-am, you're a pro-am, you're an am, you're an am. So now we get to the meat to the championship and see who can rise to the top of their respective classifications.
Yeah, about 5 drivers been reclassified through the reclassification process, of course. Not only is it round 4 though, Cowie, it's also round 7 of our Formula 1 Shadow Series, since they do go to Imola this upcoming weekend. So we get to continue that championship as well as the regular season, of course, for Season 2. Drivers who have been reclassified here, just to do a little bit of homework for anyone following along at home. Pros have been moved out, so no one's been upgraded to a class above. So that means that no one's become a pro in the changeover. But pros have been moved down to Pro-Am, include Chai Kinzel-Philo, Benjamin Brook, Jake Edwards and Nick Carroll. And then from Pro-Am down to Am, we have Kevin O'Neill. So only 5 changes in the reclassification process. And, I mean, looking at how we were last week, you really couldn't argue for any more than that, could you? I think that's probably the most reasonable amount you can make. Obviously, no one can go below Am or above Pro. So I think, that's a pretty fair mover and shaker in terms of that. It will change up the championship order, obviously, for certain championships. But it'll be good to see how those drivers now pan out in amongst their new classes, obviously getting scored in an overall standing throughout the whole field.
Well, I don't think, from what I've seen the first 3 rounds, there wasn't any real big sort of standout belter that was running high. There's a couple of guys in the AMs, and we see it from track to track. There's always a bolter from the blue who, the track suits his driving style, or it's one of those tracks he's put in, had thousands of laps in the car, and, suddenly is on the money. These are a new car to most of the drivers here, so I don't know if the statement is wholly true, but I'm sure there's some guys that have spent a lot of time here at Imola, because it is quite a fun track to race.
Yeah, it's one with deep, rich open wheel racing history. Of course, the place in 1994, 30 years ago, where Ayrton Senna and Ronald Ratzenberger lost their lives during qualifying and during the race as well. But I think a lot of these drivers would have had a lot of history around this track if they have done a lot of practice, obviously, in the open wheelers. But we talk about certain risers who kind of have outstanding performances week in and week out. You could say Keegan Caldwell had some good performances recently, so is Mitch Noble, even Matt Tessuero, but they're not getting those performances consistently, which would be one of the things that the admins look at before reclassifying them into Pro-Am is, well, are you actually doing this consistently, or is it you do it every couple of weeks? Then they kind of say, well, you got to get your consistency up before you move up into Pro-Am. Same thing for Pro-Ams going up into pros, so they can have spurs of performance, of course, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to get upgraded into the next slot.
I think that this is sort of one of those tracks for the purists, though, that, tends to sort the men from the boys. If you're fast around here, you're pushing it that little bit harder than the guy behind you, and it's the chicanes. All those variantes that, are where the pace is found around here.
Yeah, there are, of course, a combination of 4 variante corners around this circuit, including Bassa, Tamburello, Villeneuve, and then also the dreaded Variante Alta. Obviously, turn 15 and 14 can catch a lot of drivers out. And then, of course, the final 2 hairpins. I mean, turn 19 is on the straight. It's not really a corner, but turn 17 and 18, Ravazza, really going to test some of these drivers here tonight. But it's a real flowing track, really quite up and down, and it's... Jack was in the chat, why would you mention Spurs discussing? It was pure coincidence that I mentioned Spurs. But yeah, the undulation changes obviously around this track. It's a fast-flowing circuit, Cowie. Can really catch a lot of drivers out. Obviously, we've had a little bit of a preview of this circuit in ways of when IMSA came here, but then also previews of this style of circuit when we went to Portimao, obviously, in the first round with the F3s. So I think it's going to be a lot of similar driving for the drivers out here.
That shot there perfectly explained it. Have a look at those evil black and yellow sausage curves.
Yeah.
They are the curves of death. And you can just see that, you know, cutting the chicane is just not an option in any open wheel car, especially something that was loaded ground as these super lights.
No, that's right. And you want to try and obviously attack the curbs as much as you can, but you don't want to attack the sausage portion of the curbs. You want to try and stay away from the forbidden glizzies on the outside of the track, of course. But here with David Gallo, of course, defending champion this season. Not championship leader, though. That moniker, of course, goes to Dylan De Bono, who is in the session here tonight. He'll be able to continue his strong run this season in both the F1 Shadow Series and the regular F3 season, and continue his run onwards and upwards to hopefully lifting that championship trophy at the season's end.
His best start to a season in the F3s, when I've seen him have these sort of starts to a season, was in the TCRs, back when we were running them, and he ran away with the championship. So he's sort of one of those drivers that I suppose thrives on confidence and loves to lead from the front, you know, in a championship as well as sort of on track. So it'll be interesting to see what the Carla Motorsports boys have got to throw back at him. Do we have both of them out here tonight, or is David Gallo running solo once again?
We have Gallo out there. I don't believe we have Daniel Burns. I believe it is only Gallo who is running here tonight. Jack was in the chat saying Jordan's car is a giant forbidden glizzy tonight. Yeah, we were talking about that prior to the race, weren't we, Cowie, about the fact that Jordan Ferguson is currently covered in the glizzy on his car this week. We'll see if that pays him dividends. Had a good strong finish last week, got into the top 5. But unfortunately, because of the velocity lockout, he actually didn't make it into the top step of the Pro-Am podium and didn't get to come and have a chat to us. But he had a strong run nonetheless. But we'll see how these drivers do as they begin their qualifying efforts now. David Gallo, the first one to get through the first sector here tonight. We'll see if he can try and bring a challenge out to Dylan De Bono, who's looking incredibly strong this season. I mean, we mentioned last season he didn't get the full season under his belt. That was probably one of the reasons why he didn't actually end up winning the championship, where Gallo was here week in, week out, getting consistent finishes. Same for Daniel Byrne and others. When we said that if De Bono gets a whole season under his belt, he's going to be a proper challenger. And if not a name to say who could run away with the championship, because we know the kind of performances he can produce. We saw what he did in the wet out at Fuji. We've seen what he's done at other tracks as well in similar conditions. So it'll be an interesting battle for sure. We'll see if Gallo, though, can go back-to-back in championship orders, or if De Bono's going to be on to ruin the party for him.
Well, I was going to check to see if it was his teammate that's leading the Shadow Series. I think it might be actually David that's leading the Shadow Series. I will have to check now that I think of it. But, you know, Daniel Byrne, our previous Shadow F1 Series champion winner from last year, and not here tonight for one of the Shadow rounds. It's the first time I've seen him this one.
Well, we also have obviously heaps of other drivers out there who could possibly bring a challenge to the win here tonight. We know Brandon Grotch is strong in IMSA. We'll see if he can do any better in F3s as De Bono goes top of the timing sheets with his most recent time after he crossed the line there. Gallo was pole for a smidgen of a second with a 35.89, but De Bono goes 0.02 of a second faster with a 135.87 over that last lap.
Byrne is leading the F1 series. He's got a 56-point lead over his teammate. So it will be David Gallo, you know, who has the opportunity to lead the Shadow F1 series after this round. Marcus Konitska's only 10 points behind him in that championship too. So, with Daniel missing tonight, that's going to tighten that shadow series. Remember last year we saw that sort of by about halfway through, Daniel Byrne had a commanding lead on the championship, and it was decided well before the finish, a la Max Verstappen's run last year.
We've had confirmation that Daniel Byrne will miss the majority of the season, so he unfortunately won't be a contender this season to that championship. So we'll see how his teammate David Gallo can go. Jackal's confirming that he will be racing tonight. He is now in the session, so we'll see how he does out on track. Need to add him to my list because I don't believe he's actually raced this season just yet. So I'll add him in and we'll get him sorted. But can we be testing this track? Of course, we'll have to wait and see how the driver. I mean, they would have had plenty of practice around it. We've had quite a few races around this track previously, of course.
Well, I was going to say that it was only De Bono and Gallo in the 35s, and then Dave Roberts and Scott Pocock pull out a couple of laps to get them inside the 135s. So 4 drivers now breaking that barrier, and they've got a second to Sam Kanakizinas in 5th at the moment. So interesting that the pros are turning it on early, and Roberts making an early statement as well, jumping into the 35s.
Apparently, Mr. Driver 808 is on board with Gallo for his lap. So let's sit on board here with Mr. Gallo, see what the bird's eye view is for Daniel Byrne here tonight, who's watching on with David Gallo, of course, his teammate from Carlin's Motorsport. As we mentioned, Dave Roberts goes pole position with 135.84. It's tight at the top, but Dylan De Bono is currently fastest in the second sector, Cowie, and he'll be looking to continue this run on to hopefully pipping Roberts to the top step of the podium. Those white, black and Dayglow cars of Roberts and Knitska have really been the risers this season. They've actually been contesting quite heavily up towards the front. They've just had a little bit of bad luck in terms of getting caught out in other people's incidents or even in their own ever since the F1 Shadow rounds in between season 1 and 2.
Gallo's 35, 4-1, 405. Jumps to the top. He's got about 300ths, is it? No. Yeah, 300ths over David. He's
.43, so he's 4/10, 4 1/3 tenths ahead. De Bono goes P2 with the exact same time, but they are separated by 0.006 of a second between them. So there is absolutely nothing in those pole times. Shane Ratcliffe looks to have a strong run across the line as he comes on through 136.31, puts him P6 on the road, but Alan Dawson just pips him in behind, getting into P6, P5 for his class. It's currently Gallo, De Bono, Roberts, who's the top 3. Katakizinos leads out the Pro-Ams as Noble leads out the amateurs at the moment.
Katakizinos really benefiting from joining the Velocity Sim Lab boys. Driving with De Bono and the Grandpa Gowans, those guys, we've really seen his pace fire up. So, I think he's getting quite a bit of coaching from those boys. They're practicing together, and it's really showing out on track. They walk out last week, and a continued good performance here to Imola from Sam.
Yeah, he's really becoming I don't want to say a dark horse, but a proper contender for that Pro-Am Championship, Cowie. It may not be very long until we actually see him in the Pro class for next season. These next 6 rounds are going to go by pretty quickly. If he can continue these sorts of runs and these sorts of racing finishes, he's going to be right at the top step by the end of the season, but he's going to have to contest his teammate, Matty Gerard, who is also in that championship fight for the Pro-Ams as well.
See that there's a couple of Pro-Ams that are punching above their weight along with Sam Katakizinos, who've got Ratcliffe and Gerard sitting P7, P8 at the moment. And then we look at, is that Mitch Noble in P number 10 as an M, and then Schmalenberg, is that Timothy Schmalenberg, just puts in a lap to get himself up inside the top 10. And that's one of our M drivers. So, as I've said before, this could be one of those tracks where, if you're an F1 fan, sure as hell you've gone out and driven this car in an open wheel or around here. I know I have. I love the V8s, don't get me wrong, but you know, everyone's done Imola and Spa and probably Silverstone in one of these sort of cars, just experience, you know, a little bit of what it's like, you know, to do it for real.
Well, we talk about some of the classification differences, Cowie, and why certain drivers are seated where they are. As we mentioned, some amateurs have got some good pace in them, but they don't have the pace lap after lap after lap, and they don't have the consistency lap after lap after lap. So they can get a lap in, but they struggle across the race distance, and that's kind of the reason why they're an amateur. So it kind of ranges from slow pace with poor consistency to good pace to still having poor consistency. You then get into the Pro-Ams, and they're kind of the midpoint measurement, aren't they? Where they have some good pace and they have some good showings of consistency as well.
It gets even scarier than that. I remember my you know, days of a year or two ago racing the SR8, and it's sort of one of those cars with, you know, a little bit of downforce and aero. And you know, with an open wheeler, you really sort of trust the aero, and it gets to the point where you send it harder in a corner and it just grips up even more than you expected it, and you fly through it, and suddenly you've found 3 or 4 tenths. Now, the problem is you're then doing the next 5 laps trying to remember how you did that, how you went in, because the next time you go in, you slide out, or you know, you push it that little bit too far. But that's what it's about. It's about trying to push the limits in these cars, get the aero package working for you. And you'll see here, like, he's barely lifting her through there. In a V8 supercar, you've got to get off it and sort of ride around the corner there, you know, whereas he pretty much stayed in it.
You see, this is the lowest point of the track, obviously at the bottom of that hill, and it's a big old rise up towards the next variante of Alta here for 15 or 14 and 15 here on this track. That's going to be one of the hot spots tonight, Cowie. Of course, that corner really going to, you know, catch a lot of drivers out, and it is going to be a real test for them. We have got Hutto in the chat though, saying good evening, all working again. Unfortunately, they were saying who's going to get the job done tonight, Carlins or Velocity SimLab, Cowie?
Or neck and neck.
I'm tempted to make a claim that an outside choice could also pop the win. We've got 2 races, obviously, 2 opportunities for wins, 2 opportunities for a bit of chaos to get involved as well, as De Bono comes across the line, goes top of the timing tower with the first 34 of qualifying with a 34.9. He goes 4 tenths faster than Gallo.
That is a statement into the 34s. I don't think I saw any of the times in the 34s during the practice, so De Bono saving some of his best for the qualifying and has really nailed it there. To see if anyone can match that, but Grotch, Roberts, Ratcliffe, Gerard, those guys all punching up, but you know, a second off that pace. So you know, Gallo's within 0.4, but he's got 0.5 over the next lot of drivers. So it might be a 2-horse race tonight, Hutto. We'll have to see. Hopefully Carlins and Velocity SimLabs, both of those teams are battling for it at the front, but that certainly seems the way it might be this race.
Well, I have an outside pick of, I think this could be Brandon Grotch's time to rise. He's been having strong performances, obviously, in IMSA, the defending IMSA champion here in SRW, but also had a strong run at this circuit a couple of weeks ago in IMSA as well. So he'll be hoping to continue that run on forward. He's currently P3 on the grid. You know, if we get a cheeky safety car, something happens to the front of the field, he could be the one to rise up the rankings and really keep the challenge going to them. I'll have to wait and see though, but he's currently my outside pick to possibly get one of the wins here tonight. Am I feeling juiced? Possibly. I'm not a frog leaf driver, but maybe I'm juiced up about Grotch possibly getting the top step, who knows?
Well, I was going to say, you brought it up first there. Does that mean I get first guess of the number of safety cars tonight?
Sure, you can have first guess, Cowie, as Matt Gerard goes P3 on the road and completely ruining my prediction of Brandon Grotch.
Well, I'm thinking we're going to get 2 tonight. It's, you know, big field again. What have we got, 27, 28 cars out there?
More than that, we've got nearly 30.
Oh, 30, there you go. So it's a big field. Look, it's got some width, this track, but all those variantes narrow everyone together, and I can see someone going flying off. We know there's a bit of space here. Maybe I should say 1 safety car, but I reckon we're in for some action tonight, and maybe some carnage with it, so I'm going 2.
I'm going to say 1 tonight, Cowie. I know I was right last week with my pick of 1. I know it's conservative, but looking at it, it's a sprint race. I don't know the statistics on how many safety cars we've gotten in the first heat compared to a feature. But I don't know if they're going to pull the trigger for a 20-minute race. They're more likely to pull it for the 40-minute race, of course. The 14 and a half minutes into proceedings, okay, of course, sprint racing action just quickly. It means that if drivers, if they finish their laps right on the 14-minute mark, they're not actually going to be able to finish this lap. So
I don't even think Groch is going to get this one finished because he's only got about 8 seconds. So, yep, even here, Gerard's not going to get it done. You've got about a 5 or 6 second run down the line here. Yep, no, there it is. So that will be qualifying for round 4 here, and what we say round 7 of the Shadow Series as well.
Yep. So our starting grid for tonight's first heat race of 2 races here tonight. Of course, 20-minute heat, 40-minute feature. The grid will look like this. Dylan DeBono will line up on the front row of the grid alongside David Gallo. Velocity Sim Labs versus Carlin's Motorsport. The championship battle continues between then. It'll then be Matthew Gerard and Marcus Knitska lining up in behind them. We know Knitska's been strong. He could be another outside pick for possibly picking up one of those wins here tonight. Brandon Gotch, Dave Roberts will then line up in behind them with Shane Ratcliffe and Scott Pocock. On the 4th row of the grid, as Sam Katakazinos and Benjamin Brook will make up the top 10. Mitch Noble then line up pole position for the amateurs ahead of Alan Dawson on the 6th row of the grid. And then we're back to Brett Del Santo and Timothy Schmalenberg in behind. Sorry. Keegan Caldwell, Cullen Hodgson will then line up in behind them with Nathan Verney and Kevin O'Neill making up the top 18 cars on the road. They'll start ahead of Chai Kinzel, Philo and Mark Cochran and make up the top 20. Sean Benici, our resident American, will line up alongside Tyler Sheaf ahead of the Australian living but resident Manchester native of Jordan Ferguson ahead of Martin Walker to make up the top 24 cars on the road here tonight. We then move down to round out our grid with Kevin Wakefield ahead of Nick Schmalenberg, Greg Johnson, Doug Gowans, Matt Tessiero, Josh King, Greg Barber and Adam Hughes, our race controls alongside Greg Leake. Jack Anderson not setting a time in qualifying to make up 31 cars on tonight's grid carry around Imola.
Right here, race control said that someone's got a pit lane start. Didn't hear what car that was though.
Well, I'm sure we will
and
get
yes,
the
out there, David Gallo being told elbows out tonight apparently, and Hutto saying it's a blasphemy for no burn on a shadow round.
Yeah,
good to have your support, boys. Would love to see you out on track, but at least you're both checking it out. While you're moving house, Hutto, here. The rig's apart.
Oh, that's what I was told by Sinker, apparently. Apparently Hutto's moving. I'm not sure. That's what Sinker told me.
Well, having the rig apart, that's the problem. I've got things I need to fix on my rig, but I don't want to pull it apart at the moment because everything's feeling good in my racing.
So the rear of grid is for Doug Gowans for license points.
Aha. That's what Dougie has been getting his elbows out of. So is it Gallo elbows out and maybe Dougie Gowans from Velocity elbows in tonight? Be a good boy.
Maybe. Quite possibly. We'll have to wait and see. It'll be Gallo versus DeBono up the front of the field though when we do go green here. Only a couple of seconds away from the start of this race here tonight for the next round of not only the F1 Shadow Series but also the Formula 3 Nationals here, brought to you by Shannon's Insurance. It's going to be a long grid here. They go around the corner. Could be early doors chaos up towards the 2nd and 3rd corner at the chicane. Lights are going to come up though. We're going to go racing. Revs are going to rise here for Imola. Gridding is set. Only Tessiero has not made the grid. Everyone else is out there. Let's go racing at Imola. Lights are up.
Green flag, green flag.
Gallo versus DeBono. Who's going to get the jump down towards turn 1? It was a great start from a couple of drivers in the background, but DeBono and Gallo have had a phenomenal run away from Knitska in the background.
I think of a rear grid for Doug Gowans, and I think Matt Tessiero must have had the start from the pit lane, so he maybe impeded someone during the qualifying. But it is our regulars out front at the moment. DeBono leading Gallo, and it's that Knitska has got up into P3 already. So these are the championship contenders in both our Season 2, and that is Benici in the wall. Don't know if he's had issue there. Did have some connection issues during practice and qualifying, so I don't know if that's caused it.
That'll be a tow, Cowie. His rear wheel is off the car at the moment. Could be an early safety car here. Might need to get a bit of a veto on my pick and maybe see if I can change it just quietly. If we're getting safety cars already, we'll have to wait and see that.
Well, you decided to go conservative.
I did indeed.
Oh, no, he's been given permission to tow.
Keegan
so
Caldwell's
no
also
safety
had an
car.
incident in the background just quickly here. He's had a moment and it's big damage on his
no
car.
wing.
There's also been an incident up at Alta as well. Cars are all over the track at the moment. Jordan Ferguson has made his way through, but Verney is struggling to get this car going at the moment. I believe Ratcliffe's also been involved, so a heap of incidents early on here, Cowie, as we make our way on to lap number 2.
Down.
Could be. We'll get the replays happening for you as DeBono's having a couple little blinking issues here early doors. So we come on to lap 2 of this race.
Well, we know what he's going to do. If he's having any connection issues, then he's to get right out front. Oh, and here it is, the start here. Close together there. He's run wide, gone onto the grass. That's a great save initially there from Ratcliffe.
This was Bonici's incident down at turn 5, 6, 7. So he's on the inside. He's been clipped in behind, and then that's then pushed him into the wall. And then Keegan Caldwell as well.
Surprised they gave permission to tow there early on. Caldwell, that a tank flapper, and he caught it, but then just lit up the rear tyres a little bit. And the problem is, in those situations, your rear tyres are so hot, and then you're asking them to give you grip again, and they just don't want to. So maybe, that's a big brake bias lock up there. Nice evasive action from Noble. Early on, plenty happening, and race control deciding to leave it all running here. What's happened to Keegan Caldwell, is it?
No, this is Verney now. This was still that lap 1 incident in behind. He
so that's where he's
right
lost
up to try and avoid Ratcliffe, and the car ahead of him pulled it right up as well.
Oh, there was the big check up there coming into the very end of Alta. And I mean, it is to be expected on lap 1, so maybe just running a bit hard there, but I think he's got it back to the pits and he's back out on the track again. So costly, but no safety car so far.
Saying brilliant evasion from Noble. Yeah, he did really, really well to evade that car, spun round right ahead of him. He was lucky it was one of those sort of small, slow spins that kind of was contained in a small radius. It wasn't like it was all over the place.
He's sort of coming into a braking zone there and maybe sort of being a bit cautious lap 1, so he had the the time to do it there. But it's one thing to have the the option to be able to do it, but it's another thing to take it. And sometimes it's a 50-50. You go left, you go right, and you just hope that the other car holds its brakes, I suppose.
See Kanitsky here all over the back of David Gallo at the moment, so he's not letting the top 2 run away just yet in this battle here up the front end of town. Most positions gained in this race at the moment, Cowie, after the first couple laps of bit of chaos happening. Jack Anderson up 13 positions in this race, currently flying up the order after starting on the back of the grid.
Everything's not gone. Grandpa Gowan's behind him, also having a pretty good start up 9 as well.
Oh, as that's Cochrane who's been spun round, and as you mentioned, Doug Gowans, it appeared he's actually had a collision with that car. It was Josh King actually who had the spin. Jordan Ferguson's managed to avoid. So this is what's happened here with Cochrane. What's happened between them? So he's come down towards the bottom of the hill as he just had a bit of a spin here in front of those cars. Yeah, he's lost the weight of it. That was well avoided by the other 2 cars just to get around him. Unfortunately, Dougie Gowans, he had nowhere to go. Ferguson with a wild slide through there. As there was also, I believe, Nick Schmalenberg also involved. But yeah, just a bit of chaos early doors here, Cowie, but no safety car just yet.
That's exactly what I was talking about. A couple of guys went right and Doug tried to go left and the room wasn't there. So sometimes you've got to make that split-second decision and live with the consequences. But yeah, look, already a bit of action going on. Nathan Verney's been given a black flag for that contact there on lap 1. And already we've got the field is quite churned up. But up front, DeBono, he's got that gap out to 1.4. Maybe just on the edge of the toe. Gallo trying to stay with him at the moment.
Yeah, he's just trying to, he's out of tow range now. could very easily pull away. I think Gallo and Knitska may need to work together here just to get back up onto the back of him. But the amount of carnage we're getting, Cowie, you may not be too far away from a safety car if we're not careful, as Brett Del Santos had a big off track at the bottom of the hill. That corner still catching out drivers, and the undulation changes to the weight of the car.
We might have got one there for that incident early on with a broken car in a fairly dangerous spot, but race control decided to let them go. But you can see there just how those curbs affect the car, and even then we saw it sinking into the sand. That looks rather interesting. It's
a bad day at the beach for some of these drivers, apparently, down at the bottom of the hills. De Bono starts lap number 5, 6.5 minutes into proceedings. He currently leads David Gallo by 1.2 seconds, who's under pressure here from Knitska down towards turn 2 and 3. Knitska, though, unable to get it done that time as Gallo had the inside line to the initial portion of the corner. They continue on up towards 5, 6 and 7.
I don't think they're working together now, so, you know, De Bono is going to be liking what he sees in his mirrors if Gallo's fighting off. Knitska just runs a little wide there, loses a bit of momentum, but it wasn't too costly.
Also got a nice battle back here with Matt Gerard. Alan Dawson's gone off, though, at that corner down at turn 6. He'll just be trying to keep it rolling. Now, that front wheel looks very poorly, though, on the right-hand side, Cowie. Well, might be all right as he comes out in between Sheafy and Anderson.
Doesn't appear to be crabbing, but the problem is, you know, as we know, sort of when you have a moment like that, you've generally locked up the tyre. He's just checking it there to see if it was broken, because he maybe saw the same thing. Well, they might have got away with it, but we know that little bits of damage, minor damage to the floor, you know, it can cost you seconds, and, you know, you've got something wrong with your car, you get gobbled up around this place.
Really got to be cautious and just trying to keep it as consistent as possible. It's one of those tracks that tests drivers and their ability to stay as clean as possible, as Josh King's had an incident leading out of the top of the hill up towards Variante Alta. He's now dropped a couple of spots to Ratcliffe and Ferguson. Ratcliffe, of course, trying to make up the 11 positions he has now lost in this race after the lap 1 incident.
A few big movers at the moment, our big losers, probably Nathan Verney and Sean Bonici. They're a lap down and well down the pacing. Keegan Caldwell and Timothy Schmalenberg. We said Timothy had a great qualifying run and actually had a good start there, getting up the order, and now down 12 spots from his starting. Okay, and driver 808 there, thank you, saying you need to be very close to the toe. 0.5, you only get a very slight toe around here. Okay.
Knitska has dropped massively off the back of David Gallo now.
He's had a little mistake somewhere because he's lost, what, 3 or 4 seconds there. Yeah. You only do that when you make a mistake. You can see, yeah, his last lap, 1 minute 40 compared to a 36.1 from Gallo. So, you know, that's a mistake, and unfortunately a costly one, though he does have about a 3-second buffer back to Roberts behind him.
Well, luckily for him, Roberts is his fast approaching teammate, so they may be willing to work together to hold off Scott Pocock and Sam Katakazinos in behind. As it currently stands, as we come up to the halfway point of this race, is the Bono to Gallo to Knitska. That's the top 3. Katakazinos leads the Pro-Ams to Brooke to Gerard. The amateurs at the moment, it is Mitch Noble, who's just lost out of position here to Gerard into the Ravazza. He is P1, P10 on the road at the moment to Kevin O'Neill and Greg Johnson, who's currently P3 for the Ams, but unfortunately for him, he's all the way back in P22, so a lot of road to gain up to the next 2 positions within his class.
And I think Hodgkinson was putting a bit of pressure there on Noble as well. Yeah, look at this 3 wide come down to... Oh, and Hodgkinson thought a lot better of that. Sam Noble sweeping around the outside, taking that spot back. That is a bold move from our AM leader.
I winced then, Cowie. I thought that was going to end in tears.
Oh, Gerard putting the pressure on. He was close to contact there as well. But you can see here, this is a great little battle going on. Big wide run from Noble, and Gerard seeing the opportunity. He's gone up the inside. Can he hang on to the run? Hodgkinson are going to add to this. They're going to go 3 wide as they come down. Oh, some good driving here.
This is a fantastic battle at the moment, Cowie, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you can see there what I was sort of talking about, how you're going to drive these cars.
Oh,
no,
Gerard's lost it though, and he's in the wall.
Yeah, he's hung onto his front wing, but he's lost his rear in the process, and I think that's broken. We may well see a safety car now, but that is, oh look, it was exciting to watch, but you can see where Noble was going the outside line, and he had a bit more pace, and that's what I'm talking about. You trust that aero, and the car seems to grip. Yep, there it is, safety car call number 1. You're on wood already, Hammy.
Let's hope they have a clean race too, Cowie. We can see this is how it happened though. Excuse me, I'm all blundering.
I think it's just curb to the grass. It's curbing, I think. He's just got on the throttle hard there. I mean, like, he's right in the thick of the battle there, so, and the curb spat him out there, mate, and that was a little bit more than he could chew, that curb.
I don't reload for more carnage. Maybe I was a bit too conservative. Maybe I should have gone with 3, but who knows? I'm glad I didn't go for the donut. At least I thought there would be a safety car. So Daniel Byrne saying this should make it more.
Could have 2 by now.
Well, we could have. Daniel Byrne saying this should make it more interesting up front. It should, because it means we're going to probably have 4 or 5 minutes of straight running up the front. We know Gallo's got a bit of pace in him, and all of a sudden De Bono is now under attack from him once the restart happens.
That battle between Gallo and Konitska, that cost Gallo a second and a half. So, as I said, De Bono would have loved to have seen, David have to defend against Marcus there. So, he'd be hoping more of the same. If, Gallo and Konitska fight, he can check out. So, but, also got to think about Dave Roberts, Scott Pocock, another guy we haven't talked much about tonight, and he's sitting in P5 at the moment, up 3 from his starting position. And Sam Catacasinos, our leading Pro-Am, and another one of the Velocity Sim Lab boys, sitting P6, and right in the heart of that top 10. Remember, it's a reverse top 10 as well, so who's sitting in 10th? Callan Hodgkinson. Well, am I surprised to see him around that bubble? No.
Well, we've got drivers such as Hodgkinson, Noble, Trikins or Philo's going to be there, Brett Del Santo, the fast rising Jack Anderson, who's currently up 18 positions in this race. He's on the bubble as well with P13, so it could be a very interesting battle on towards the end of this race, Cowie, and it could be on hell for leather here for that pole position of race 2, but also for the win of race number 1.
Well, that's right. We love to see the field get compressed up again. One of the things that they do say in motor racing, safety cars, what do they breed? More safety cars. They breed
safety cars, but luckily for us, when it gets to 5 minutes to go, we won't have another one race number 1. So
yeah, they won't call another one this race.
So by the time the safety car comes in, we'll be at that cutoff with only a minute to go for that cutoff. So 6 minutes to go on this race. Safety car's probably going to be out there for 2 laps. We're then going to get probably, I'd say, 2 to 3 minutes of racing here for the win.
I don't think they're going to do any waiver rounds by the looks of it, so I would not be surprised if they go green at the end of this lap.
They would have to, because Nathan Verney's currently separating P3 and P2 on the road.
Yep, they are doing it now.
Yeah, so they'd have to, because it would end up being like a Verstappen Hamilton moment at Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, you're talking Abu Dhabi. I understand, but Massey got in trouble for letting him through. Remember, so
because he only let the ones through that were holding up the top 10. He should have let everyone through, but
no, hang on. They should have just red flagged that race when the championship's on the line like that. A red flag, reset it. Everyone gets to choose tyres. Go hell bent for leather. That would have been the plan. But no, we ended up with a contentious moment, just another one in the rich history of Formula 1.
Hey, you know what? It was talked about for about a year afterwards, and then Max proved the doubters wrong that he was championship material by winning it the next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. So,
look, I think once he won it, his driving style changed. I think he's a lot more conservative now than he was before chasing that title. Once he got it, he made it to that step, and I think that was just another sort of step in his evolution. And now he's, he's pretty much the complete driver, really.
With safety cars pulling away, Cowie, so we should be getting ready to go racing here now that the waiver rounds have been completed.
How does DeBono play this? Does he hold it right to the line, or does he go out of the last corner? Because it's a big, long straight to the first variante.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to call, I think. I think there's been a bit of a balk in the background, possibly. There's a car round. Brett Del Santo's off the track. So there's been a bit of a schmozzle here underneath the whole field. Maybe some drivers getting a bit overzealous behind the safety car. That might get looked at by race control, but DeBono's gone early here. He's gone before the second to last corner, and we're now going to get a straight run for 4.5 minutes to the checkered flag of this race, and it's all to play for as the whole field's been bunched back up as we come onto lap 10.
There, we're talking about that total being 0.4. We'll look at DeBono's immediately got it to 0.5 to start off this restart. So doing everything he can to stay out in front. Kanitska, Gallo there, hot in pursuit, and Roberts behind Kanitska there. On say that. Oh, who's that? That's gone deep. That is Tyler Sheepy. Has gone a bit hot. He's
Kevin
on the radio.
I believe Kevin O'Neill's also towed back to pits without permission off the back of that too. So we've got a replay going at the end of this lap to see what's happened between those two, because I reckon they've had a bit of a tangle.
Does seem that way. We also lost that Benjamin Brook. We've lost the connection packet loss as well. So race control did say there was a couple of guys who were having internet issues at the start during the practice and qualifying, but already our front three have checked it out a little bit here, and it is DeBono leading Gallo, leading Kanitska. These are our three front runners as far as the championship goes, and they're back at it again.
Yeah, they're continuing this championship fight at the moment as they come through the Ravazza corner to come up towards the start lap 11. This was the moment between O'Neill and Sheaf. As they came down towards 2 and 3, you can see them at the top of the screen, or sort of midway point of the screen. Oh, that's big contact between them. And then O'Neill...
Sheafy's moved out to open the corner, and I don't know if they've interlocked wheels there to cause that. But it may be one that race control will have a bit of a look at. We'll have to see if, Sheafy gets out of that one.
You can see there, he's come out. Oh, yeah, just big contact.
Straight over there.
I mean, he may get away with it since Kevin's then decided just to tow back to pits without requesting. But I'm unsure about that.
Kevin might get one as well, but we'll have to leave that in race control's hands at the moment. Gallo is trying to stay with DeBono. He's got that gap out at 0.8 now. He's got Kanitska behind him to worry about. They've got a little bit of a gap, about a second back to Roberts, who's got Pocock right on his tail as well. So just starting to space out a little bit here, but the front three, maybe one more lap to go. We didn't see a white flag last time round, so I'd say there'll be one more lap to go.
I'd say they're close enough to get one more.
But already DeBono showing his speed around here at Imola. If it stays as is, race number 2 may well be interesting with the reverse top 10, but he has shown an ability to move his way through the field quickly in those reverse top 10 races. All right, let's keep an eye out for Barney. Is he waving that white flag?
I believe he is. We're close enough to the end. It is. We've got race control car 8 pit lane start for race 2 contact on lap 10. Car 340 pit lane start race 2 for towing without permission. So they both have been given a penalty for the next race, as Alan Dawson is now attacking Chai Kinzel-Filho here for P10 on the road. They've got Shane Ratcliffe and Jack Anderson in behind them. This is the battle for not only 10th on the road, but also for pole position of race number 2, as Dawson now claims that position from Kinzel-Filho in behind.
Good battles with Alan earlier in the week in the V8s, and he's doing well in the F3s here. He's only got about 2/3 of a lap here to hang on to P10. There's a moment there in the background there with Trifila getting on the grass, so that's cost him another couple of spots. It's now down to Anderson to maybe take the attack, but Dawson has checked out, and he's got almost a 2-second gap now.
Yeah, he has, so that may be all over Red Rover, and Dawson may have claimed that position. But we're back here with the leader of the race, Dylan De Bono. Brett Del Santos had an incident in the background. We'll check that out after the race finishes, of course. As De Bono now comes down towards the Bravazza, already has nearly a 2-second gap over Gallo, so he's proven his pace here and really starting to spread his wings as Hodgkinson's had an incident in the background as well. That's going to have big implications for the pole position of race number 2. But De Bono's going to come round. He's going to come home and he's going to finish out P1 on the road here tonight and take victory for race number 1. Gallo in P2, Knitska in P3. Where's Hodgkinson? He's trying to nurse this thing home. Anderson's in behind him. But it looks like Hodgkinson is going to have the pole position for race number 2 here tonight.
It's a broken car, but he's managed to hang on to it and get it over the line. But, oh, big moment there for Hodgkinson. I'll try and have a look at that one if you can. But,
that was Del Santo.
Del Santo's whipped it round.
And then this was Hodgkinson's. That, well, cost him a bit higher up in the 10, but actually got him P1 for the next race. As he came through the chicane,
too much curve
caught
there.
the sausage.
He's caught it well.
Needs to be careful of the rejoin though.
That is one of those corners though that he probably did the right thing to get on the inside because the racing line is on the outside there. So, but it cost him one spot, but more importantly for him is it didn't cost him that spot outside the top 10, so he will start on pole position for race number 2. Well, that was pretty exciting, buddy. There was plenty happening there. You're already on wood when it comes to the safety cars, and now we've got a 40-minute race coming up. I think maybe 3 might have been the call.
Yeah, it might have been. It might have been after that chaos that we saw early doors. But provisional race results for race number 1 up on your screens now, ladies and gentlemen. It was Dylan De Bono out of P1 ahead of David Gallo and Marcus Knitska. Dave Roberts, Scott Pocock then make up the top 5. Sam Katakazinos gets the honours for Pro-Am ahead of Brandon Grotch and Mitch Noble, who got the honours for Amateur. Alan Dawson ahead of Callan Hodgkinson, who will start pole position for race number 2. Jack Anderson just missing out on that pole position, which was almost gifted to him by Hodgkinson's mistake. Kinzel, Philo, Ratcliffe, Ferguson, King make up the top 15. We then find Caldwell, Schmalenberg, Johnson and Gowans making up the top 19 cars on the road. We then move down to Matt Tessiero, Mark Cochran, Martin Walker, Nathan Verney, Brett Del Santo and Kevin Wakefield to make up the top 25 ahead of Nick Schmalenberg, Sheafy, O'Neill, Benici, and then back to Matt Gerard, who makes up the top 30. Benjamin Brook unfortunately dropped out of the session with only a handful of laps to go in this one. But that'll be how they start the next race, Cowie, apart from that top 10 getting swapped around.
Matty Gerard, unfortunately, the cause of that second safety car and ended up a lap down after towing. He'll be looking for some redemption. He showed some great pace and was running well inside the top 10. So him starting from the back of the grid, we may well see Matty in and amongst the action. I'm not going to say carnage. I'm going to say action.
In and amongst the character-building race for some drivers, we'll say. So shall we, Cowie? We've both had a handful of those ourselves.
Yeah, look, sometimes the rear of the start grid races could be some of the most fun, you know, especially if you're in one of the higher classifications, you know, because you're driving against guys that are a little bit slower than you, so they're going to give you their passing opportunities. So it comes down to patience, and sometimes it can be a really good test of your racecraft and your patience when it's a tight track and it's hard to pass.
Well, of course, we move into our warm-up session, Cowie. Good little opportunity for the drivers to reset. Maybe go grab a drink, go grab a bathroom break in between the races, or even just get a practice start. And if you weren't completely happy with your start in race number 1, obviously that reverse top 10 could be quite interesting. We might see the likes of Anderson or Ratcliffe hook onto the back of Gallo and De Bono as they make their way through the field, maybe get themselves some more positions gained in this race.
Well, that's right. I mean, look, one of the things here, because it's a fixed setup series, you're not going to see, you know, drivers go out and use this warm-up period to make a tweak to a setup. I mean, you might see that in the supercars when you see cars out on track in the 5-minute warm-up. So, as you said, it'll mostly be a practice start, or if there's a corner that's been troubling and they might have a quick go at it, or they've seen another driver ahead take a corner a particular way, maybe one of those very aunties, and go, ooh, can I do that? And then just go out and give that a quick practice in this warm-up period. First top 10, your other question, look, yeah, we can see here it's not the hardest place to pass. I'm not saying it's easy, but what you're going to see is that those front runners, they're going to have to be quite cautious early on because they're going to be prepared to go hotter through a couple of those chicanes than the guys in front of them are. And we saw what happened to Doug Gowans last week. You know, we ran into the back of a couple of cars. These things happen, and no brake lights. You can't see when they're stopping. So, you know, early on, you've got to be patient. And we've seen that the front runners have showed that patience. They're the ones that get through cleanly.
It'll be a
also the ones that have got a. Well, I was going to say also those that have got a lucky rabbit's foot or a four-leaf clover on the jar as well, because you've got to throw luck into the equation, because you can have the best race of your life and then get taken out. Just think of what it's like to take out a race leader.
Yeah. I've just been informed I made a mistake with the wallpaper. I put the wrong track on there.
What did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh well. I'll keep you honest around here, buddy. We make mistakes. I think the boys were giving me crap for how much times I used Buddy last season. I've tried to save it for special occasions now.
Yeah, I've put Sonoma on there instead of Imola, so completely chuffed that. It's not the first time I've done it. I did it for Aragon as well. I put the Lebanon racetrack map on the initial wallpaper, so I'll have to get that fixed and then redo it for the actual upload. Not much I can do about the start of the race when it was up on screen, but feature race coming at you now regardless. Jack Oz wishing everybody else good luck in this race. As starting grid for you now, it'll be how they finished. At the top 10 has been reversed. It'll be Callan Hodgson starting ahead of Alan Dawson, Mitch Noble and Brandon Grotch in behind. Sam Katakazinos and Scott Pocock will then start on the third row of the grid. Ahead of Dave Roberts and Marcus Knitska. David Gallo and Dylan DeBono will then make up the top 10. And then every other position in behind will be however they finished in race number 1 here tonight.
Race control just giving a few instructions to the boys there. But look, it was an interesting 20-minute race. 40 minutes around Imola here. You're on wood with the safety cars. I think that might be a foolish decision as this race progresses. But we'll see, because one thing we do know is that, everyone is really comfortable racing against each other. So we're not seeing any angst in the Discord chat that amongst drivers. There'll always be people that question and put in tickets and question race control decisions. That'll always happen. But for the most part, that I could see across all of the leagues, is everyone's really enjoying, locking horns against their comparative rivals in each of the series. I know I am.
Well, it's going to be a great race for race number 2 here tonight. Okay, we already saw a bit of chaos race 1. We know Imola can throw up some chaos for us. Reverse top 10 could be a nice spicy one for us here tonight.
Well, the other question while we wait for these guys to let loose on this track, McLaren. Now, last race at Miami, it wasn't really considered a track that was going to suit that car, and we know that you had a bit of luck with the safety car and that to get Norris over the line. But now that monkey's off his back, Ricardo won in a McLaren here a while back. No, sorry, that was Monza.
Yeah,
apologies.
Just to go behind the curtain a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, when I joined Cowan tonight, he's like, we're racing at Monza tonight. And we were like, no, we're at the other Italian track in Imola. So I look forward to having another German track, Cowie, because then you'll be questioning which one is it, whether it's Nürburgring, Hockenheim, Öschersleben, or the Sachsenring. That's going to be fun next season if we have that on the calendar for sure.
Jerez was quite fun this week, doing a couple of MotoGP tracks for the V8s the last few weeks, and quite enjoyed racing them.
We've got 30 seconds until the lights go out here for race number 2. Just want to double check. What's the race next week for the supercars? It's Suzuka, so you got another motorcycle track. In fact, you got Winton then the week after where Australian Superbikes race. So got a couple of motorcycle tracks coming our way for the next couple of rounds. But lights are up. Let's go racing for race number 2. It'll be Dawson versus Hodgkinson off the front row of the grid here tonight. Who's going to get the jump down towards turn 1? Will there be chaos ensuing once again as they all spread out on the grid? Here is a great start from the front runners as they make their way through. Good start there from Grotch as well, who's in P3 on the road now, but he's got Noble up the inside.
Everyone's being fairly cautious, giving each other plenty of room through the first Variante. I think it's actually the second Variante because the straight's called that too.
Yeah.
But look too wide here. Oh, some good. Oh, there's already a car off.
That's Noble.
Who's that? Noble off.
Off down at the exit there. Katakazinos has also called something, and he's also been off the circuit. He seems
contact.
Ferguson there getting in a bit of a sandwich, ironically, with the Glizzy car. Are hot dogs considered sandwiches in your eyes, Cowie?
No. They're a snack. They're like chips.
I think they can be classified as a sandwich. It's a piece of meat in between bread.
Yeah, but you put bacon and egg and everything else on top, cheese and everything on top, and they're an absolute awesome snack. But if you start convincing all the women out, I mean, look, we've been trying for probably 100 years to convince women that hot dogs are a perfectly acceptable meal, and they'll only ever see them as a snack. So unfortunately, it doesn't matter what we say, buddy.
Oh, that's true. Maybe it's like eating a half sandwich. Maybe that's what it is. As Hodgkinson runs it wide through the second to last corner, Dawson here looks to have a nice run up around the final corner and across the line. It's going to be the top 3 drivers battling it out here, I think, for the first couple of laps. As Dawson's now dropping off. They're going 3 wide round through turn 1 up towards 2 and 3. Oh, this could be dicey. Hodgkinson does the smart move though. Backs out as Grotch leads the way. And Hodgkinson now gets past Dawson into P2.
Excellent racing from all 3 there. That could have been disastrous. And you can see there Dawson staying alive, and then he's able to put the pressure back on Hodgkinson going into the next section and get that done. De Bono and Gallo, they're up a few spots already, 4 each at the moment, 5th and 6th. Robert and Kanitska, they've sort of stayed put, so already De Bono and Gallo making decisive moves early on in this race.
Just trying to move on up here. They've got Pocock ahead of them. But what's interesting, Cowie, is my outside pick in Brandon Grotch is looking good for a win at the moment. He currently leads the field.
Yeah, it is early days yet, 40-minute race. Looking at the pit strategy here, the race should go 25, 26 laps if it stays green. Pit strategy is 12 to 14 is that window, so you're pretty much running right to the end of the stint. Any safety cars, of course, will change that equation, but expect these guys to run right to the end, maybe pit a lap earlier if it can get you that undercut, but you don't have a lot of sort of margin to play with there.
Sort of Bono in the background. He tried to get the move done on Pocock, but Pocock defended so well to hold him off as lap 3 has now begun. It is Brandon Grotch, P1 at the moment, who's just at the fastest lap of the race, but Gallo's just beat him. It looks like it is a safety car.
Yeah, they were slowing down there, and I did hear something about it on the radio. Don't know the big moment that we had there, but we'll have to go. You might have to go back and hunt through SDK and see what's happened there, buddy. But safety car out on track, and that means that I'm on wood now, and you're all done.
Well, I'm going to say in my heart that I picked 3 instead of 1, Cowie. I'm going to do the coward's move and change my pick. No, I'm joking. My pick was for race number 1. So here was Caldwell. He had a bit of an off track here with Chikins or Phil Ho. So that looks okay. The rejoin.
Oh no,
could have been dicey.
No, I thought it was coming there.
Schmalenberg also had an off track as well. So I believe it was with Martin Walker, and that'll be why. That will be why for sure. I believe it was Martin Walker who's actually requested the tow.
No, he's got that car going.
No,
but maybe it just didn't steer after that.
This is why I claimed that it
Oh,
was
look
for
at
him.
it there
Benici
too.
as well, also involved, as well as Noble There you can see he's just trying to keep it off track. And I think he's actually requested the tow. Unfortunately.
Car's crabbing there.
Yeah.
Well, certainly calmed everything back down again, bunched the field back up, but this is only good news for the likes of De Bono and Gallo. Gallo managed to pick up another spot there in that chaos and is sitting P4 on road now. He's got Pocock between him and De Bono, so that might be a decisive situation to see if Dylan gets caught up or can get free and keep that battle with Gallo going. But as you said, Grotch out front, he's had good pace. Dawson and Hodgkinson, well, you know, they both had decent pace. You know, you've got to run with decent pace to get inside this top 10. You know, we had 30 cars out there tonight. But still, you know, tonight so far we've seen Gallo, De Bono, they're a good half a second quicker than everyone else once they get going. Is that enough to get these moves done? Well, we've got plenty of time to go at the moment.
We do indeed, as safety car pulls away, so Brandon Grotch will have control of the field off the restart here, ahead of Alan Dawson and Callan Hodgkinson in P3. He's currently P1 on the road for the Pro-Ams. Anderson's currently P2 ahead of Ratcliffe, with King and Kinsel Philho making up the rest of that top 5. Rest of the top 5 for the pros is Gallo, Pocock, De Bono. For the amateurs, it's currently Caldwell ahead of Tessuero, Schmalenberg, Johnson, and O'Neill at this stage in time.
Is that the beginning tower with just the initials?
Yeah, it's just the initials. I wanted to see what it looked like while we're under safety car. Maybe we'll use it. Maybe we'll use 3 letters. I don't know.
Well, the bit at the bottom when there's someone in the pits that sticks out. So.
Yeah. As Grotch gets the restart going, he now leads the way onto lap number 4 as Walker's now been brought back out of the pits ahead of the traffic. He's going to get eaten alive here by this quick field as they approach him in just a moment's time. So he'll be foot to the floor right now trying to run away from the leader, because he does not want to get caught up by these guys and cop a blue flag and have to let the whole field past him and go a lap down.
I don't think he's going to have much say in it at the moment, because they're catching him at a rate of knots. And the last thing he'll want to do, he's going to have to pull over and let the entire field through by the looks of it. And it's going to make it unfortunate for him, but I think he's already going to be at least 1 lap down from having to tow. So,
well, he came out on the lead lap. Luckily for him, he was on the lead lap, so he's only a lap down now on the leader.
Okay.
But
well, he'll be hoping that I'm wrong tonight, and another safety car comes out, and he can, you know, get that lap back. Because look, it's putting him right in the thick of things, and he's going to have to be very, very careful with his racing, with you know, all those blue flags around.
So you're a heap of drivers in the background, swapping and changing positions through the Variante. Josh King's had an off-track through there at Alta. He's now just trying to continue on and get back on track. I think he's unfortunately now going to drop to the back of the field as Brandon Grotch leads the way. On to lap 5, 8 minutes into proceedings of this 40-minute race. Car 10, drive-through penalty for car contact on lap 1. That is going to Mitch Noble for, I believe, the contact with, I think it was Benici on lap 1.
Unfortunate for Mitch, he was having a good race tonight, and was right in the thick of it for the first race.
As we come up to turn 2, 3 and 4, he gets the move done on Johnston. Now looks onto the back of Ferguson, but of course he's going to lose these spots once he comes through for that drive-through. With that safety car now, it kind of opens up the fuel strategy a little bit here, Cowie, as Kinsel Philho's at an off-track up ahead. That's the second time he's gone off at that corner on exit. Needs to be careful of the rejoin. Oh, that could have ended very poorly there.
Scary, scary, scary stuff. But he has survived. The problem is he's outside that train, and the thing is, you know, it's not like the expressway where you've got to give way and then someone will let you in nicely when you're merging. You know, you've got to barge your way in amongst these guys. There's everyone fighting hard for every position they can out the track. That's what we want it to be.
Indeed, as Hodgkinson still leads the way for the Pro-Ams at the moment, Cowie. He's got a nice little buffer between him and P2 and Jack Anderson. In fact, he's got 3 pro cars separating the both of them. But if something happens to Hodgkinson, Anderson's in the hot seat to take that leading position as Caldwell and Gowans are now battling it out for P10 on the road. Caldwell, though, leading the amateurs at the moment. Gowans trying to come back from a rear-of-grid start for licence points.
On a big recovery drive from Doug. Couldn't get it done in race number 1. I think he made a few spots up, but he's up 9 so far in this race, though Keegan Caldwell just not quite ready to give that position up just yet.
I think probably, obviously he's fighting for a top 10, maybe the smarter choice, though, you just let Dougie pass, hook him behind him and see if he can tow you along for a bit and then go for the assault later in the race. I mean, we're only 10.5 minutes in of a 40-minute race at the moment, Cowie.
Doesn't look like these boys are working together. I'm sure Dougie will be looking to try and get past Keegan as quick as he can. Up ahead of him, the battles continue. Tessiero in the back behind this battle. So he'll be hoping for, you know, a nice run. He's also another driver that started in the rear of the field. Got up to 20th position in race number 1. He's down a couple of spots so far, but all the drivers behind him have pitted. So, you know, it's his chance to try and get in amongst it and fight hard. And what's that? Del Santos had a moment, gone off.
He's ended up at the bottom of the hill, another victim of the changing conditions. Jack Anderson's also dropping spots. We'll get a replay of that, of why that's happened as well. But this is why Del Santo was spun round.
And I'll hit that curb.
Oh, that's a wild ride. And
that went in pretty hot.
Unfortunately for Anderson, he was having a super strong run. He had Caldwell coming up behind him. He's come through the corner. Oh, hop the sausage curb. He did well, though, to get out the way, but unfortunately had to wait for the whole field to come past him. Has now lost his opportunity, but he lines up in behind his teammate Jordan Ferguson at the moment.
Bernie making a big around the outside of him there too, trying to, unable to get that done. There's some good battles. Was that Radcliffe and something Radcliffe? He's dropping positions here. Yep, up in the sand. You see his name tumbling down the order. And you can see once you get out there, looks a bit skatey, and then you're worried about coming back and rejoining because that is the outside, but that's where all the cars are. That's the fast lane.
Well, unfortunately here, especially with the F3, you don't have a boot to put a bucket and spade in. So once you're out there, you're kind of stuck out there. You've got to try and drive your way out as Grotch still leads the way to Dawson, to DeBono, to Gallo, to Konitsky, to Pocock. That's the top 6. Hodgkinson leads the Pro-Ams ahead of Roberts. Caldwell, leader of the amateurs, ahead of Gowans, Katakazinos, Gerard, Cochran, Brook, and Del Santo. That's the top 15 cars on the road at the moment.
Grotch at the moment, he's got his head down, 135.7 last lap. And, the cars behind him are doing 37s and 38s. So already sort of keeping this gap out at the moment. And I think the fact that Dawson is now finding himself defending against DeBono, who's got past Gallo, so we missed that there. If something happened to Gallo, or it was just a nice move done by DeBono, but that battle we were talking before from our front runners from race number 1 is switched around.
It continues on nicely as DeBono looks ahead to try and win the round here tonight. He's got Gallo all over him, and he's all over Dawson, who's just up the road from him at the moment as they continue on round. Been a bit of a chaotic race tonight, Cowie. I mean, you have this feeling that it's just going to blow up in our face at the moment, don't you? Like the drivers are a little bit skittish, and we've been having some of these little minor incidents that are happening, but we haven't really seen it blow up as of yet in terms of a massive incident between a heap of cars on track.
No, look, there's been good respect, and everyone's been giving each other room. So, and I mean, I think you might see a few of the guys driving a little bit within themselves when it comes to those chicanes. But our front runners here pushing hard. DeBono having a big run at Dawson here. Don't know if he is close enough to have a run at the end of the lap here, but he will be setting up to have a go at Tamburello for sure.
Yeah, we'll See if he can line this up in towards 2 and 3. In tow range now of Alan Dawson is Dylan De Bono. This is the one car in between him and the lead of this race. Up ahead with Brandon Grotch. He's going to line it up down the inside towards turn 2. Dawson looks to maybe just let him have it here. He does indeed, and De Bono moves up into P2 on the road. Dawson back down to P3. Grotch, though, still leads the way.
Yeah, smart move there from De Bono. I'm sure Dawson would have loved to have fought that a bit harder, but in the end, Dylan just had a bit too much pace coming down, though he's had a big moment and run wide, giving Dawson a little bit of a sniff there, and he's right up under the wing, and that's going to help Gallo. He's going to get a run on Dawson here now as well. So, moment in this race, as they come up to, was that Piratella, and heading down to Acqua Minerale, and Gallo getting Dawson as well there, so yeah, a little bit of a check up there, and I think it was actually a De Bono mistake that actually caught Alan out there.
Didn't know you spoke Italian, Cowie?
Oh, just reading the map. Reading the map.
There's a battle ensuing in the background here with both the Schmalenbergs and Tessuero. Johnson leads this battle with Benici in behind, as well as Wakefield as well. This battle's now starting to heat up, and I have a feeling, Cowie, out of any battles on track, this could be the one we see blow up in our face just by how close we are, how many amateurs are out there amongst this battle. Nothing against the drivers, of course, but statistically wise, this would be the one to cause it, I reckon.
6 cars together trying to occupy the same bit of tarmac, so there's a nice move up the inside there. Was that Schmalenberg? And I think that's also Schmalenberg as well, trying to get around Johnson. So both the Schmalenberg, bit of contact there, interlocking, but looks like they've got away with that. Could have been horrendous. But Greg Johnson there just getting swamped by the Schmalenbergs, who's run deep, but not enough for Greg to have another attack back at Tessuero. He's looking to pounce, but Benici's got a good run behind him, already coming and popping out of the thing. All right, Johnson.
And
was that Johnson and Tessuero that went into the pits? Interesting call. We are within the window. There's 17 minutes gone, and you know they can hold 14 laps. These guys, so probably pretty tight, but right at the edge of that window. And looks like, you know, a big fuel stop as well, because they're putting in a fair amount.
Well, we are getting to that halfway point, Cowie, so maybe they needed one more safety car to try and get home?
No, I don't think they could have got home, but I mean, it's more about timing. It was about 12 laps is about halfway. Tank can do 14. So, you know, they're doing 1 minute 38, so that's probably right at the opening of the pit window. So they better hope that, you know, they don't find an extra lap in it with great pace up front. But I think, you know, I think they should be right. They're right at the edge of that window. We'll have to see if they can make the undercut work.
Well, we'll see if it pays dividends for them here in this race. Of course, it's not over until that checkered flag flies. Anything can happen. We know it's been a bit of a chaotic affair. Grotch here doing well to hold out this little 2-second gap between De Bono and himself. But De Bono's under pressure here from Gallo. So if Gallo can battle him out, Grotch could end up doing a De Bono running away.
Well, De Bono did run wide there a little bit. I wonder if that he's done maybe a little bit of damage to the car, and it's just lost a little bit of performance, or maybe it's taken a few more percentage out of those tyres with that little excursion. But I think also the fact, I think probably more so, it's the fact that Gallo's getting the tow and De Bono's not. So Gallo keeping this battle nice and close at the moment, trying to put as much pressure on Dylan De Bono as he can.
So there's a nice little battle happening in the background here between Verney, Trikinsel, Philo, Anderson and Ferguson were also involved too, as they continue this one on.
Matter on the radio with the race control there as well, so I don't know if something else has happened. But at the moment, I can't see anything popping up on SDK telling us there's a big moment on track. Nathan Verney, he was in a moment in race number 1. So far here, up 6 spots. So having a better fist of it in race number 2 here, but that absolutely stunning livery there. It's always good to look at. wild as it is.
Oh, it is so... I want to see it in a night race somehow. We got to find
Must
like a
be.
twilight race where the track's fully lit up. That's why it'd be good to have... It'd be the only good reason to have Abu Dhabi on iRacing is so we could actually race there at night, since it is a fully lit track.
No, Taggy's the same. Taggy be fully lit.
Is it? I don't know about that.
You might be right. I know there's probably layouts that
I know portions. I know you could race at Daytona because most of the track is lit up. I think you can also race at Catalunya in the dark.
Keegan Caldwell here under a bit of pressure. He's got the pro of Doug Gowans just comes through the lap before, and he's now got the pro-ams of Gerard and Catacasinas behind him. Catacasinas with a bit of a recovery drive after getting caught up early on with some contact there. You know, and Sam has been spending all his time up the front. I don't know if he knows what it's like to live outside the top 10.
Yeah, a bit of unknown territory for him at the moment, as Hodgkinson leads his class inside the 10 at the moment. Top 7 cars are all pros here on lap 12, 20 minutes, 45 seconds into proceedings of race number 2 here tonight. So we're past the threshold of race number 1. We now move on for an extra 20 minutes of racing here for race number 2, as Caldwell is in a velocity sandwich at the moment. Speaking of sandwiches, just quickly, Kelly, I learned something very interesting today, and it might blow yours and the viewers' minds as De Bono sets the fastest lap of the race, 1:34.93, is that technically pasta is bread because it is made of water and flour. And that means that, you know, lasagna is built up of layers of pasta, you know, meat, sauce, cheese, pasta, meat, sauce, cheese. That means technically the Big Mac is pasta. It's a lasagna. It's a lasagna. Either lasagna is a sandwich, or a Big Mac is technically lasagna.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, I can see the logic there. I mean, you know, but the problem is Gnocchi's potato, and neither of them above. So
you can get potato bread.
Yeah, I suppose you can. Just about everything bread. Yeah. I know my my dad made my mum get rid of the bread maker because he was putting on too much weight with the carbs, because she was making fresh bread every morning this is when they were touring around Australia in their caravan, and they were getting complaints from other people in the caravan parks that they were staying at because the smell was too good and it was driving everyone mad.
Well, I thought it might be a bit apropos to bring up that fact, since we're in Italy, and Italy's known for pasta, of course, and
of course.
You know, just a nice little tidbit for anyone out there that didn't know. So technically speaking, the Big Mac is lasagna, as Kevin Wakefield's had it in the background.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure pasta actually didn't originate from Italy either. I think it's Persian, but they took it on board. So another one of those interesting tidbits. Though maybe Italians out there might tell me wrong. Well, Keaton Caldwell, nice slide there. He's kept it out of damage there, and it hasn't actually beached the car on the curbs either, because that can happen with these things.
I have just noticed that De Bono is now leading the race, Cowie, through all of this.
So what's happened,
as we're talking about that. So Gallo got past him. Daniel saying, you guys make me hungry, there's been a lead change. Yeah, we have just noticed, so De Bono already got past him, so he's going slower for whatever reason. So this was when De Bono got past him. They were swapping and changing positions down the straight. De Bono then lined him up at turn 2. Got him down the inside. Grotch, a little bit of a knock there between them. That then slowed Grotch's exit, and that's then what's allowed Gallo past, I believe, towards the end of the lap, as Anderson and Kinzel-Fillo are now in the pits.
It cost him a lot of time. Yes, I see that little bit of contact just coming out of Tamburello. Maybe just checked him up a little bit, and that's put him right in the sights of Gallo. So, yeah, look, it's how things can change when we're talking about food.
It's fine. We're guaranteed to not get any talk of pineapple on pizza, because the driver that always brings it up is actually racing. So we've got to come up with our own little food tidbits when we can.
One of those things, I suppose, about ad-libbing, and look at that, everyone coming in now, our front runners, so getting an extra, lap, or an extra 4 or 5 minutes into the race with that safety car. Now, we're going to keep an eye on those couple of big undercutters and see where they come out in the equation. But Ferguson having a little moment out of Variante Alta and putting himself around as well. Not the first time, probably not the last time either. We're going to see this here at this corner.
Yeah, I think just running it a little bit too hot through there.
Oh, no, it's just the curb. You can see that, you know, it seems to me that you've got to have the car turn and take a lot of the curb. But if you're turning in and just clip a little bit of it, it unsettles the car.
As Gowans now leads the way. Just got the had a little bit too much mustard on the throttle there. I think not enough ketchup. So he'll be relishing that moment there, dropping a heap of spots.
I thought we'd finished the food bit, buddy.
It was too easy. The door was open for it. I had to just cut that one in
fridge
there.
door was open, is what you're saying. The
Exactly.
fridge door was open.
Exactly. Yeah. You are exactly right. As Anderson's still in the lane. In fact, I believe he's actually come in for a second stop.
Has he? Or no drive-through there? Perhaps a penalty?
No, he's brought it in, so I'm unsure
No,
why.
he didn't. No, well, I think his previous stop was maybe a lap 1.
No. He had stopped the lap before with Kinzel Filho. He stopped on 13 with Kinzel Filho, so
maybe damage.
Quite
Can't
possibly.
see any incidents showing up there in SDK. Philo's car looks alright for the moment. Doug Gowan's coming in, going that extra lap on the field.
See if it pays dividends.
It will be De Bono, and look at that gap. He's already got a couple of seconds out of Gallo. So, you know, the pit stop there. Yielding nicely, and Grotch P3 staying with it. He's got Knitska behind him. So there's about a second separating second, third and fourth. But De Bono, he's got to the front, and he's got a 2-second gap. So already broken that toe. I think he's going to be a hard catch from here.
That's paid Gowan's big dividends. He's now up into P8, up 11 positions in this race. Gerard's up 20-odd positions into P9. Caldwell makes up the top 10 as Vernie, Schmalenberg, Noble, Sheaf, Benici and King all bring it into the lane. You know what we need now, Cowie? A safety car.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I know you'd love that. I mean, look, even though I said there'd be 2 tonight, I wouldn't mind another one to bunch everything back up. We've seen some great sort of action when the cars are all bunched together. But I'm sure that, you know, these drivers up the front here, they'd be saying, no, let's keep it nice and clean now. We're all settled. I've got my spot. Though Gallo, with his elbows out order, I'm sure he would love another safety car and to have one last run at Dylan De Bono up front there.
Well, it'll open the doors a little bit for us. You know, currently we've got the wind blowing on and we're struggling to keep them open. That safety car comes in, all of a sudden the wind dies down and you fall out the front door. You know, so it's it'll just be good. You know, as you mentioned, bunch up the field, bring everyone back into the battle. Everyone's had a pit. Some drivers still need a pit, so it'll help them out a little bit, maybe contain where they are on track. And then again, open up some battles for, you know, that Pro-Am win possibly. Obviously the Pro win and overall win. Car 319, iRacing Black Flag for the incident points. That'll explain it. Jack Anderson had an iRacing Black Flag. That's why he came through for a second traverse through the lane.
Incident points, so you probably only had 17 for this race, I would think. And those little sort of off tracks cost you a 1x if you have contact with another car. It's 4x if you hit the wall or lose control of your car. It's generally a 2x. So, you know, it doesn't take much to rack them up around here. I think the other reason that you want another safety car, and probably the main reason too, is that I've actually got it right at the moment.
I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up, Cowie. That was definitely not the secret reason why I wanted another one. No, genuinely, I wanted it to actually bunch up the field. It's just a bonus that it would actually screw up your predictions.
I've converted you, so the heathen has joined the faithful in the call for, you know, more carnage on the racetrack. That's what it really is.
Well, we'll see who is going to get the gains here throughout the rest of this race, whether De Bono continue this run or Gallo can find some pace to catch up onto the back of him here tonight. But it is looking like De Bono's win, and possibly De Bono's round win, since more points are available for race number 2.
Yeah, look, just keeping a nice sort of 2-second gap at the moment. Both of these guys, you know, lapping within, what, 700ths of each other last lap. Grotch about half a second back. That's that little gap I was talking about. I think tonight it's really shown that De Bono and Gallo have been the two cars that have, you know, they've just got an extra few sort of tenths on the rest of the field at the moment. They've done the sensible thing, get themselves through the field carefully, taken advantage of the safety car when it bunches back up to get those last couple of spots and run right to the front at the moment. Catching up to Kevin Wakefield here, who will get out of the way, I'm sure. Hodgkinson here battling P12. Well, he's down 11 spots, started P1 on this race. Don't know if he's struggling with a bit of damage, but he has got Brooke behind him. Unfortunately, Benjamin Brooke had a disconnect in race number 1, but good to see him back out there battling hard. Up 18 positions at the moment, Benjamin, so he's a bit of a late charger in this race.
Yeah, he'll be hoping to continue this run on, and he's up, as you mentioned, 18 spots, so hopefully he can continue on up, maybe get the 19th position. Ironically, Cowie, if we somehow get another Velocity driver onto the amateur podium, it'll be another Velocity SimLabs lockout, but not overall, it would only be for the Pro-Am.
Well, not a lockout, because we're not only talking to them, but, you know, they went close to being the only team to talk to on the night. So, you know, but that shows that the work that the boys are putting in, and, I mean, you've got a speed machine like the Bono out front, but we've seen time and time again, you know, when it's his track, Dougie Gowans is right on the pace and has taken victories. We've seen, you know, Matty Gerard be on the pace and run with the front runners, and now we're seeing Sam Catakazinas, you know, coming in to the team and really benefiting from that, showing great pace in the new car as well.
I think this looks like possibly another iRacing black flag, Cowie.
Yeah.
As Caldwell's traversing back through the lane.
Don't see anything
up
up
there. It's a
there
safety car.
Wow.
So what has caused this safety car? What have we missed?
Well, we did call for it. There's 8 minutes to go in this race, so it is outside that 5-minute window. And a bunch up the field. This is going to be in a grandstand finish tonight here at Imola now.
Oh, I believe it might be this one here.
And what did I tell you at the start of this race? You know, you could have been brave and gone for 3 safety cars, but no.
I could have. So Anderson had a moment at the bottom of the hill. Oh, that's a wild one through there.
Oh, and there's nothing left of that car.
Yeah, he said the Shadow may have run out of talent. Apologies. That's a bit of an understatement. That's almost like the talent. You had the tap and the tap fell off. Unfortunately there for Jacos. Not the way he would have wanted to end his race, but that is for sure the reason that we have a safety car right now.
That was contact. That was quite far, so he wasn't getting out of that. Though I don't know if you had aspirations of saving that on your way to the wall or not.
I think he knew once it was gone, it was gone. So he probably just took his hands off the wheel and let it ride at that point, because it's pretty tough to catch it down there.
Well, if you've got a direct drive, you've got to do that before you hit the wall. I'm sure just about everyone that's got one of the stronger direct drive wheels has worked that out from at some time. You've got to let the wheel go, don't try to hang on to it when you hit the wall. I mean, yeah, some of the systems out there that you can do now, you can replicate Ayrton Senna no power steering Monaco laps if you really want. I don't know why you would, because it's like trying to turn a brick. But yeah, gotta be careful. I think was it the Aussie guy Will from Boosted Media broke his thumb in a race. So.
Yeah, it's pretty much you just let go and hope for the best. Put your foot on the brake and just hope it stops.
Well, we saw what happened to Ricardo last year at Zandvoort, and he, hung onto the wheel to avoid hitting Piastri. So if he had to let go of the wheel, he probably would have been okay. But the fact that he held onto it to avoid Piastri meant that he copped the jolt and, you know, broke his hand, had to have operations. So, you know, we might be one of those things we don't really want to simulate, you know, the pain of injuries. But, you know, I suppose when you're trying to replicate those forces at home, you know, wheel strength is, you know, where you're going to feel that grip the most. And when you get those tank slappers and it throws you into the wall, let go of it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the biggest thing you need to get ingrained into your brain, especially when you're getting into direct drives. Whether you're going to a Sim Magic or up to a Camus or a Simicube, the first thing you got to do is learn. You just let go of the wheel if you're having a shunt, and if you can see the wall coming or you don't think you like, pretty much as soon as it's looped, just let go and just put your foot on the brake. It's the best thing you can do.
You know, we talk about the newer sort of the budget direct drive wheels coming in about what 10 Newton meters, 5 to 10 Newton meters. I think the Sim Magic's what 15. One of them goes up to 20. Simicube's 25. You know, there's a Leo Bodner one that you've been able to get for almost 20 years. 50 Newton meter motor.
Yeah, of course,
I
Moser
don't know
as
why
well.
you would want it. I don't know why you'd want it, but
I don't know.
But still,
that's just a workout at that point. You've got one of those, you know, the weighted steering wheels that F1 drivers use for training. It's basically that. Like,
I've got a Simicube, mate, and on 50%, it's a workout. So, you know, I mean, they say that, you know, most race cars, it's 12 to 15 Newton meters is the sort of strength where, you know, of the wheel, you know, in a race. So obviously that varies from car to car and the way the car feels the load, and of course the way you set up your equipment. But safety car pulling away, so we are about to go green. I think we've only got about 5 minutes of racing left, but the field is bunched together, so it is going to be an action-packed 5 minutes here at SRWtv. If you are enjoying the action and you haven't already done so, please give us a like and subscribe, because it really helps with the algorithm and gets us noticed out there. Now, DeBono went early last time. Do you think Gallo's up for... He's aware of it this time? When is he going to go this time, Hamish?
I think he'll be smart about this. He might go on exit instead of entry, but he did catch Gallo out last time when he went entry, so it'll be tough to pick. We have got confirmation Ferguson's only one incident point away from a drive-through himself. He's held him up there. Gallo tried to catch him, but he's held him. He's then gone mid-corner to try and catch him out again, and he has done. That's a brilliant move there from Dylan DeBono off the restart, who now leads the way.
As long as it's not a little double pump go, but that will be up to race control to keep an eye on that. Yeah, Ferguson with one incident point left. I was like that myself last night with about 3 laps to go. So I know what it feels like, but safety car bunching it back up, I'm sure that he feels like he needs eyes in the back of his head with all these cars around him.
We can see here Gallo was under all sorts of pressure from Grotch.
He's
previously, who's now had a big moment with Knitska off the track. That's now going to drop him out of the top 3. Gallo's going to drop out of the top 3 as well after a moment. That's now promoted Scott Pocock, Alan Dawson onto the podium, and Roberts now ahead of Gallo as well.
I wonder if Gallo got out of the way to avoid something there. He's got big pressure from Doug Gowans there, you know, who up 13 positions. Gerard behind him up 23 positions. So these boys benefiting from those couple of safety cars, working their way through the field, and they're now right at the pointy end and battling for points.
Yeah, it's big moments early on in this final little run home. Couple of minutes left in this race, not even a couple of minutes. It'll be 1 lap to go when Dylan DeBono crosses the line, and he's checked out at the moment by nearly 4 seconds on the road, about 3.1 seconds at the moment, as Gallo and Roberts battling in behind.
This is important. You know, again, I mean, I think it's 5 points separate each position as far as the championship goes. So at the moment, you know, DeBono picking up a nice sort of 15 points on Gallo, or 20, now it's 15. if he can hold it here, but I'll look 3 wide here, and Gowan's getting in amongst it. The grandpa, well, he's certainly on it at the moment. No walking cane for Doug tonight. He's had to fight his way from the back, old man style, and now still putting the fight on with Roberts as well.
He's keeping it on him here as it's final lap. Pocot's gone off up ahead.
Oh, the pressure from Gallo and there, but don't know if he's just lost that himself. But they are dropping like flies up the front. And De Bono, well, he's got a 4-second lead now and is going to run away with this race.
As Gallo gets it down the inside of Dawson. Dawson lets him have it. Gallo now back up into P2 on the road. So he's not going to lose so many points to this man, Dylan De Bono, who leads the championship and will continue to lead it when he crosses the line. He's on form for a double bubble round win here tonight, winning the first race and looking to win the second as well. He did well to survive the race proceedings, the chaos that ensued. Round through the Ravazza, and now comes Dylan De Bono. It's been dominant from day one this season. Up towards the line he comes to win yet another race in Season 2 of 2024 and extend his championship lead over David Gallo at the moment, who comes home P2 over Dawson. There's been a big incident in the background that we'll try and catch as well. Gerard's come home P6, P1 for the Pro-Ams. Schmalenberg comes home P1 for the Pro-Ams. Caldwell's been taken out before the line. Ferguson's also had a moment as well. That's now going to give him a penalty for not being able to finish his drive-through for the exceeding of incident points. But he is going to cross the line ahead of Caldwell. But Konitska was involved in this, and this all happened around the final corner, Cowie.
Here we go. He's gone on the grass.
Oh, that was Konitska on the back of Ferguson. That's then put him over the line. Unfortunate for him.
Well, the poor could have put him on the line even if he hadn't got the 1X for going off as well. But over here, what happened to Caldwell here?
So he ran it way wide.
And he's looped it into the wall himself.
So he's given up the win.
Oh, and he's tried to come back out, but the car doesn't want to turn.
So unfortunate there for this man. But it's good news for this bloke, Dylan De Bono, who is, looks to have run out of fuel possibly, or maybe just waiting for the whole grid at this stage in time. But a wild end to our race here tonight out at Imola. Yeah, he's waiting for the field. What's race control got to say about it, Cowie?
I can't hear anything on the radio about specific moments there. Marcus Konitska asking about it, so maybe there was he thinks there was a bit of movement under brakes or whatever, because he went off to the grass, but race control saying, yep, we will look at it all after the session.
Well, I mean, that was 2 incidents in one lap, and a couple of laps for Konitska, of course. He was involved in one.
Well, Konitska also said, I just heard him on the radio there say that took him over his incident limit, so he would have had another sort of 50 seconds added on. So that's put him back in P27.
This was Gallo's incident that he had. He just ran it way wide.
I thought he was avoiding something, but it was the cars in behind that had a moment, was it?
Yeah, they had the moment the next lap. Right. I don't know, it was that lap, but yeah, they were in behind him, so he just ran it wide, and then they've also run it wide in behind.
I thought it was ahead of him, and he was maybe avoiding something.
So you can see you're up in the blimp. So Gallo's coming through and behind De Bono. He runs it way wide. Both of them have the incident together.
Yeah, that was up behind. Yeah, I see ya. So just all 3 of them going in too hot, including Gallo himself.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we will get our podium finishes in here tonight. But our provisional results for race number 2 here tonight. Dylan De Bono finishes P1 ahead of David Gallo Alan Dawson are the top three here tonight, ahead of Dave Roberts and Doug Gowans. Matt Gerard will then finish in P6, but P1 for the Proams, ahead of Sam Catakazinos, Callan Hodgson, Benjamin Brooke and Mark Cochrane in the top 10. Nathan Verney then finishes in behind. Timothy Schmalenberg gets his first class win of the season. Hopefully we'll get to have a chat to him. Ahead of Chai Kinzel-Philo, Shane Ratcliffe, Tyler Sheaffer make up the top 15. Mitch Noble, Sean Benici and Matt Tessuera then make up the top 18 cars here tonight. We then move back to Greg Johnson, Josh King, Nick Schmalenberg, Kevin Wakefield, Kevin O'Neill, Scott Pocock, Martin Walker, Brett Del Santo, Jordan Ferguson in behind. And then it was Marcus Knitzka, Keegan Caldwell, Brandon Grotch and Jack Anderson who make up the rest of the running. As the first driver we will look to bring in is Mr. Schmalenberg. As I believe, the drivers have not learnt yet, have they, Cowie, that we don't talk to every single podium finisher. It is literally just the winners of the lower classes and then the top three of the race.
They all want to have a chat and that, so, but yeah, look, if we grab all of them in here, we'll be here till midnight, so got to put some stipulation, but it's awesome that we're able to offer that class racing and have a race within a race for, some of those sort of mid-pack runners.
Of course, we've lost. SDK as we're about to go into our interviews. You want to drag Mr. Schmalenberg in and we'll quickly start chatting to him while I fix this up, Cowie?
I think it's T.
Yeah, it is. I believe it is.
All right, let me drag him in. There we go. Bring Timothy Schmalenberg into the broadcast booth. Tim, P1 for the amateurs for race number 2. How was it out there with all those safety cars and getting bunched back up together as soon as you work out a bit of space for yourself?
Yeah, no, it was a tough race. Good safety car at the end, though. Gained a couple of spots from that.
That was a like, because, I mean, you were right in that mid-pack, so those restarts, when guys are going 3 wide coming down into Tamburello, we saw a few people try to sweep around the outside. How scary was it at times?
Yeah, a couple of close calls. couple of good moments.
Obviously, I was going to say, Caldwell had that moment on the last corner there, Tim, giving you the win.
Yeah.
Was it kind of, how did you feel when you came around the corner and all of a sudden he's across the track and you're P1 in class?
I actually thought he was already behind me. I thought I saw him and my relatives behind me earlier in the race. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't expect to see him there. I didn't even notice it was him. It was Nick, my teammate, brother. He called out as he passed him. I was like, oh, that might be good for me then.
Well, apparently, I've just noticed. Why is it? Oh, I don't know. It's because at this point of the race. No, don't worry about it. I mean, but it's you had a good run though. You kept it nice and clean. Couple of little moments, obviously, Tim. But how does it feel now to finally get top step in the amateurs and maybe get some more good performances out of the car going into the latter half of the season?
Yeah, no, it's definitely good. It's been a tough season. Like everyone's a lot quicker than the last time I raced in the series, so there's a bit of a shock coming in and barely scraping the top 20.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, look, but we are seeing sort of, more space being given by the drivers. So it seems to be a bit more respect out there coming into, especially on those restarts. And like you had a few of them tonight.
Yeah, it wasn't the cleanest couple of races. I don't know how I ended up pulling out a 13th at the end there.
Well, those curbs seemed death. So you had a couple of close calls with them, but a couple of very anti-alta and a couple of the curbs there, you just get it slightly wrong and the cars, they spit you out.
Yeah, those big like sausage style curbs on the inside of the ripple strips. Yeah, they're not good.
Well, Tim, thanks for coming over to chat to us here tonight, mate. We appreciate your time, of course. Big congratulations on your class win once again. Let us know who helps get you on track and anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well. Yeah, obviously the team, JWM Sim Sports. Thanks for Wade for design and delivery and everything he does. Shout out to Broad Coffee, TW Engineering, Tough Customs and TCR Fab for sponsoring the cars. Very good, mate. Well, best of luck next week out at Long Beach. It's going to be pure chaos. If we don't get a chance to speak to you, though, best of luck for the rest of the season as well. Thanks, mate. Looking forward to that one. Oh, mate, I am so looking forward to that one. It's going to be brilliant.
No worries.
Thanks, mate.
See ya.
All right, we will drag in Mr. Gerard now, who finished P1 for the Proms. Mr. Gerard, another strong performance for you, sir, and another class win for you in the Pro-Ams. How did it feel in that one?
First race, I'll say I was extremely frustrated. I'm one who doesn't think that the different classes should battle too much. And so there was a lot of battling going on between myself and another driver. And in the end, my frustration got the best of me and caused me to put it in the wall, causing that safety car. So that was annoying. Put me back in 30th for the next race. But I just went for it. And hey, look at this. Here I am, I think 7th overall, I think it was, or 8th, something like along those lines. So the second race, much better, much happier, much more enjoyable, and here we are talking with you again.
P6, Matty Gerard. P6 it was, buddy. So well done.
There you go, P6,
Now,
even better.
you've been in the thick of it for a few weeks now. You said you got some clear running, so I know the safety cars helped sort of bunch things back together. But it was that send it was the only option tonight.
At the end in the feature race, yes, it pretty well was. I think I jumped up sort of 5 or 6 positions by the end of turn 2, and it was just weaving my way around the outside of everyone. And then it was just head down, go for it, and just people were dropping off left and right as they had their own little incidents, and I just kept it clean and used the toe when you could get it, and when you did, you sort of held on to those quicker guys in front. There's a few. I think there's a few pros that were sadly further back down the field, but they still had the pace, so you're able to keep up with them with their toe, dragging you around, and then they have an incident, and all right, on to the next one.
Well, obviously, a strong season from yourself and from your teammate, Sam Catacasinos, Matty. Is there going to be a bit of inter-team rivalry going forward for that championship, do we reckon?
There could be. We'll see how it pans out. We're all a pretty good bunch of guys and good team, and just let it play out. If we're in the same position like we've been in the last couple of races, where one's behind the other, and it comes down to whoever gets in front wins it, then I'd say we'll be battling. But if not, then good work to whoever does win it. We'll congratulate each other and carry on to the next season and do what we can to get each other better.
Oh, mate, hopefully for myself and Cowie, hopefully we get a good battle between the both of you, but hopefully it's going to end up being a strong finish for the both of you as well. Let us know who helps get you. And actually, do you want to throw out the sponsors, or do you want to leave that up to Dylan since he won the race?
Oh, look, I'll do it. He's had to do it the last couple of weeks, I think, so I don't mind taking the reins for once.
Oh, mate, let us know who helps get you and Velocity Sim Labs out on track, and anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well.
Yeah, no worries. All right, so main sponsor being Haikoki Power Tools, here to Race YouTube channel, and basically everyone involved with Velocity Sim Labs. Week in, week out, the boys are putting in the practice and helping each other where they can. So a big thanks to each and every one of the boys in the team. And obviously Race Control, all the background work they're doing, and you boys as well with the commentary.
Very good, mate. Well, best of luck out at Long Beach next week. It's going to be pure chaos. And if we don't get a chance to speak to you, best of luck for the rest of the season as well.
Awesome, boys. Thanks very much, eh?
Thanks, mate. All right, Cowie, we'll bring in our P3 in Alan Dawson. Mr. Dawson, what a debut season you're having. And, well, to take advantage of a poor thing that happened in front of you on track, but a good thing for you, you managed to get it up on the podium here tonight and get to have a chat to us once again.
Yeah, no, definitely very, very lucky tonight, with a few other people being a little bit misunfortunate, but here I am, I guess.
Well, how was it out there, Alan? How close were the margins, Alan? So when you're travelling at the front there, to keep up a pretty good pace, and some of those variantes, you get the curve slightly wrong and it spits you out like a done dinner. You have a couple of moments yourself?
Yeah, in the first race, it absolutely sent me. I think I'm on the second chicane. unfortunate. But yeah, second race I was a little bit more careful on those ripple strips and seemed to work out all right.
Well, sitting down low in the car and then you're close up behind another car, quite difficult to see them as well.
Yeah, and just old habits, always taking certain lines because I'm not really still getting the hang of this car, and I've still got old muscle memory of jumping ripple strips, so a bit hard to stop myself from doing it.
That's a V8 supercar driver mentality, that's for sure.
Oh, that's it.
Oh, mate, how did, obviously, Imola a tough track, but an even tougher test next week in Long Beach. How are you feeling going into the concrete jungle once again for round number 5?
I love street circuit, so that's hopefully somewhere I can probably be a little bit closer to the leaders than pace, hopefully. But yeah, no, street circuit seems to be one of those places where I seem to do quite well.
Oh, mate, hopefully this good run of form can continue into the last half of the season. Let us know, help us get you and Right Sim Racing out on track, and anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well.
To Sim Racing in Focus and my charity that's Defenders for Hope, Say No to Domestic Violence, and Print Racer as well for all your Etsy 3D printing needs.
Oh, mate, thanks for joining us once again. Big congrats on your P3 here tonight. Best of luck next week, as I mentioned, and if we don't get a chance to speak to you, though, best of luck for the rest of the season.
Awesome, mate. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll drag in Mr. David Gallo, our P2 finisher tonight. Mr. Gallo, unfortunate you had a little bit of a mistake there that let Mr. De Bono run away from you in the end, but still a strong performance for you, flying the solo flag for Carlins here tonight.
Yeah, evening, gents. Yeah, a bit of a mishap there with the restart, and I think I was lucky enough to get it sort of back on track, and the seas parted for me, I think, which brought me back up to P2. But I was a bit scared there, definitely.
Daniel did say in the chat that he told you it was, elbows out tonight. I don't know if he meant to go out there in the bleachers though.
No, I don't think he meant that. I was hoping to sort of keep with Dylan there, but each and every restart he sort of made that gap and broke the toe and couldn't really stick with him. But there was definitely elbows out in that last lap or two to sort of get back up into the podium, that's for sure.
Now, you guys were both sort of, probably consistently sort of half a second a lap quicker than the rest of the field. Was it just the aggression through those chicanes, the Variantes? Were you avoiding the curbs much? Is it just about a smooth line through them? Or have you got to try and sort of caress them just the right way?
I think he's sort of the chicane sort of through that last sector. You definitely got to sort of smash over him, but it's just timing the accelerator and the roll time right without looping it. I did it a few times in practice, so I was definitely treading with a bit of caution through the race. But at the same time, still trying to keep pace and stay on the back of Dylan. But it is a pretty fine line, yeah.
So how are you feeling now coming into the last half of the season, David? Obviously next week, Long Beach, bit of chaos, anything can happen. You're not too far off the back of Dylan in terms of championship proceedings, but are you feeling strong going into the final half, or are you just waiting to see what happens?
I think I'll play by ear, but hopefully Daniel's back next week and we can get a bit of practice in and get up there again. I sort of haven't looked at the last couple of races, but I think I've been on most of those tracks. So yeah, hopefully we can challenge Dylan and pick it back. Yeah, the difference.
Oh, well, mate, hopefully you can continue the run that you had last season into the rest of this one. Let us know who helps get you and Carlin's Motorsport out on track, and anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well.
Yeah, cheers, guys. So shout out to Carlin's Motorsport, Driver 808, which is Daniel on TikTok and YouTube, Glam Raider, Little Rara, and Eagles Automotive. And a shout out to my wife, Anna, and my two girls, Anthea and Valerie.
Very good, mate. Well, congratulations on yet another podium this season. Best of luck at Long Beach next week. And for whatever reason, if we don't get to speak to you in the next race, best of luck for the rest of the season.
Cheers, guys. Thank you. Catch you next week.
Thanks. Mate. All right, we'll drag in our race winner now, Dylan De Bono. Another dominant performance from you tonight, Mr. De Bono. 2 wins from 2 out at Imola, and you currently have both hands on the championship trophy in this championship at the moment. After flying away from Gallo there in both races, you look pretty strong. How was it feeling out there on track with all the chaos amongst it?
Yeah, I just sort of nailed those starts, broke the toe early. And yeah, I just seen David go off through the chicane, and I was like, oh, that can't be good. And I just seen everyone crash into each other or whatever happened. Bit of chaos back there, and I was, just sigh of relief.
Well, starting that second feature race, P10, how was the start? Because we saw quite a bit of movement there, but looked like everyone was giving each other space early on the race, so that must be a good thing to see.
Yeah, like I lost a few spots off the start there. I think I was down the 13th, and I knew I was fast enough to come back through the field, and then the safety car came out and sort of bunched everyone back up. Yeah, but overall the racing seemed pretty clean, a fair bit of space given, which is needed in these cars.
One thing I will ask you before I let Hamish ask some more questions, but going through Tamborello, we could see a few of the guys there moving to the inside to defend, but it seemed that the fast line was going through the outside and have the inside for the second part.
Yeah, I think it's because you can carry so much more corner speed, or you can carry so much corner speed in these cars wherever you really are. And if you're on the outside, obviously, you can carry a little bit more speed through the apex. And yeah, you end up getting a better drive off the corner.
Well, we saw a heap of battles and a heap of chaos out there on track. Was it nice knowing that once you kind of broke away from the field, it was just head, eyes forward, look on to try and build that gap, and then all of a sudden, heart gets broken, safety car gets called 3 times, and all of a sudden you got cars right on your tail again.
Yeah, it was an interesting race. Like you said, the safety car got called out 3 times, all about the same gap. I had about the same gap to Gallo each time, and I was like, oh, no way, couldn't believe it. And then I practiced those race starts during the week, and I sort of was a little bit confident with it. And once it pulled off at the start, I was pretty smooth sailing.
Well, mate, Long Beach next week, big chaos, big challenge ahead. How are you feeling going into that one?
Oh man, I can't wait. I love not bouncing off the walls, but being right on the wall, being on the edge every lap, and yeah, that's just my sort of track.
Well, mate, massive congratulations go out to you and your team once again for another very, very strong performance and another win for yourself in the pro and overall category. It's also another win for the F1 Shadow Series, so you get some good points for that haul as well. Let us know who helps get you and Velocity Sim Labs out on track, and anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well.
Yeah, thanks, like you said, to Velocity Sim Lab. All the boys there were putting in the effort. We're getting the results, which is a good thing. High Koki Power Tools, Hit a Race YouTube channel, you guys for streaming, SRW for hosting the league. And yeah, don't forget to check out Velocity Sim Lab on Facebook. Give it a like and follow.
Very good, mate. Well, best of luck for Long Beach next week, and for whatever unknown world-affecting reason, best of luck for the rest of the season if we don't get a chance to speak to you.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, mate. Well, Cowie, a good finish to round number 4. A nice chaotic race for us, but I don't know if it's going to compare to what we're going to have on offer next week out at Long Beach.
Concrete jungle. So you're going to tell me, so what you're saying already is that you're not going to go for one safety car next week.
Hang on, let me look at the race format for next week before I put in my already early. It's a normal race, 5 safety cars.
5. Okay, or well, it is Long Beach. It does have big concrete walls. We're going to see the durability of the new Super Light and how well they handle it. The F3s used to break when you looked at them bad. These cars do seem a bit more durable. But, yeah, I think the concrete of Long Beach will win out if these guys push it too hard.
Yeah, it's going to be a round that you do not want to miss right here on SRWtv, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already, hit the like button, the subscribe, and the bell icon so you are notified anytime we go racing here on SRWtv. Jacko's saying, surely rain at Long Beach. If there's rain, I'm putting it up to like 6 or 7 safety cars if that's the case. But if you haven't already, please hit the like, subscribe, and the bell icon so you are notified anytime we go racing here, including our Tuesday night Warren & Brown Tools V8 Supercar Series, the Wednesday night Shannon's Insurance Formula 3 Nationals, the Thursday night Shannon's Insurance Toyota GR8 6 Nationals, which is also a Motorsport Australia official series, the Friday night IMSA Shadow Series brought to you by Warren & Brown Tools. They're rounding out our racing week, our Sunday night / Monday during Scops rounds. Warren & Brown Tools V8 Supercars Super Sunday / Monday during Scops round series. For myself, Hamish Munro and Andrew Cowan, a big thank you goes out to all of our series sponsors, including our title sponsors, Warren & Brown Tools and Shannon's Insurance, as well as our other sponsors, Motorsport Australia, DSL Rail Services, Shunt Scenery, Grim Industries, and NeuroPower. But from us here at SRWtv, we thank you for joining us. Thank you for bringing us into your home or wherever you may be watching from, and for taking time out of your lives to join us here. But we'll see you guys tomorrow night, where JP and Sink will be back in the booth for the chaos that will ensue around Long Beach for GR86s, and maybe a bit of a preview for us for next week. But until then, for myself, Hamish Munro and Andrew Cowan, stay safe, drive hard, and bye for now.
This is amazing. I was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because, tell you what, Bruce Tanak, Jamie Dyke just absolutely drove away from us.